Hey there, beautiful. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra Carmen, and today I want to speak to a space inside of you that's always known, but maybe sometimes forgotten. We're going to talk about the most powerful inner practice for any woman or being with a feminine essence who wants authentic embodiment, emotional healing, and conscious love. It's to hold clear boundaries and to experience blissful surrender. It's a yummy combination of these two, and one must be able to recognize love in the moment. Not love as a concept, not love as a future goal, not love as something to earn or chase, but love as it's manifesting right now. Those moments where you smell your favorite flower and everything inside of you just softens. Or when you look into a baby's eyes and time stops. Or when you're lying in the sun and suddenly, without even trying, you feel this wave of peace, of pleasure, of presence wash over your entire being. That, my dear, that is love. And it's in those exact moments that you have access to your true power, your clarity, your softness, your boundaries, your surrender. And a few years ago, I have to be honest, I was at a point where thoughts and sensations got stuck inside of me, and my journey had reached a point where it was necessary to change things up in order to keep progressing. I was in a relationship and we had this raw chemistry, deep conversations, a vision together, but my body was quietly trying to tell me something. And you know that feeling when something just doesn't quite land in you, when there's tension that blocks you from fully receiving? When your heart is saying yes, but your chest feels still tight or your stomach hardens. That was my experience constantly. And I kept pushing it aside. I kept staying open. And at this point, it was like forcing myself to open, which honestly is impossible if you're trying to do it authentically. So I kept convincing myself that maybe I just needed to do more healing, more inner work, or I was too sensitive. But my heart was whispering, no, over and over again, like a knowing deep inside of me that this is not opening as the sacred feminine. And then one morning, I will always remember this, when I felt really numb and shut down before the day even really began. Light was kind of spilling through the window in that playful kind of way, you know. And I got up, I had a freshly made cup of cacao, it was melting in my mouth. And then I sat there, I overlooked nature and the ocean view we had. And for no reason, it just overcame me like a soft, peaceful feeling of love. It's okay, I am safe here, I am home. And my gaze brushed over the jungle in the distance and the birds flying over my head and flowers in our garden below. And suddenly I had that feeling of love that I have not felt for weeks. Not when I was in a conversation with friends, not when I made plans or spoke to my partner, because I had been waiting for the love to come through him, through experiences, through external things. And I made my partner the gatekeeper. And I outsourced it. And in that moment, sitting there in stillness, I just realized love was never missing. I just wasn't letting myself feel it unless it came wrapped in a specific package. But the love I really needed was mine. It was always mine. And that moment cracked something open in me, in my heart space, that reminded me that it's not someone else's presence, approval, attention, or words that make me feel loved. It's coming back to my own heart so I can stop waiting and stop outsourcing. And then I closed again, and then I opened again. And so time passed. I went in and out of that very frequently. And it reminded me over the last years, it's such a deep personal practice and it's my choice. Do I allow it to flow through me or do I become needy to get it from the outside? The most important love that teaches you how to stay soft, how to say no with clarity, how to surrender without losing yourself. This is the love you give yourself. It's not the shiny romance, it's the deep, quiet devotion to your own aliveness, the kind of love that never leaves you. And once I truly got that, I'm still on the journey, things started to shift. Because love is not always a feeling between two people. Sometimes it's a frequency you wake up to again and again in the quiet moments. And when you know how to recognize that frequency without needing it to come from someone else, you become a woman or a being who can hold the fiercest boundaries and melt into the most blissful surrender, because you're no longer outsourcing your center. You are no longer seeking safety outside of you. You're no longer hardening against the pain of not being seen, because you have already seen yourself. And here's a tip, something we all need reminders of. And I say it to my one-on-one clients too. And know that, okay, this is something you probably hear a lot. This is the same old advice. Everyone repeats this, but it can be this simple, so hear me out. We're not learning something new here. We are unlearning what keeps us from love. We are unwinding the mental patterns, the energetic shields, and even the emotional armor that's been protecting us from love and from hurt. Because there's a paradox here. You can't experience ecstatic surrender if your body isn't soft. You can't receive love if your heart is armored. But when you soften, when you actually let love in, you always become more and more open to love. So you feel more or less pain. Even with a deeply conscious, loving man by your side, still then, even the tiniest moment of him going quiet, being tired or distracted with work, it can feel like a mini heartbreak for you if you were fully open. And yet, it's all about trying and practicing anyway. It's not easy, and that's because that's the risk of love. That's what the wild devotion of the feminine is, the choice to stay soft even when it's risky, the choice to stay open even when you might get hurt, and because that's where the magic is. And boundaries, fierce boundaries, they aren't armor, they are clarity, they are grounded, a grounded no that arises from your deepest yes. Here's an example. Let's say you say no to verbal abuse. That no is not just rejection, it's a declaration that says no. Because I say yes to being treated with reverence. I say yes to relationships where consciousness is honored. The no is a container. The yes is the vision, the open invitation. And here's the thing, you don't need to force a boundary. When you deeply recognize the love in the moment, your body will naturally say no. Not from fear, but from wisdom. So, how do you begin to recognize love in the moment? That's the biggest question. Start with your day in stillness, even if it's just 3 minutes, to feel your breath, to feel your body, and listen. Let your senses lead you. Smell something beautiful. Taste something very slowly. Let your body experience pleasure by touching something that feels good. And when you harden, that's often when the deeper truth is trying to emerge. So you practice saying no without an apology, not with anger, but with embodied clarity. Say yes to what nourishes your sensitivity. Music, depth, nature, beauty. These things remind you of who you are. And this sensitivity, so this capacity to recognize love, is not something for every moment, every place, or every person. It is sacred in many ways. It's more unique than that. So please be discerning. When do you soften? When your body says yes. With whom do you reveal yourself fully? With those who meet you with presence and respect and reverence. And where do you surrender? In spaces that feel safe to do so, that call you deeper, not that pull you into a survival mode, for example. So, my love, if you desire to hold powerful boundaries, if you yearn to surrender in love, intimacy, and in life itself, then this might be your path to wake up to love in the moment, not as something you get, but as something you are. When you do so, you will be very clear, and the yes will feel strong. The surrender to the most powerful prayer of all will be inevitable. And if this touched your heart, let me know in the comments, what's your biggest insight from today? And if you want to go deeper, join my newsletter, check out the offerings in the description below. I welcome you here to the space. You are softness, you are here, you are powerful. Much love, and I will see you soon.